June 2020, Munich. Jan Marsalek, COO of Wirecard, boards a private jet. Destination, unknown. He vanishes. No arrest, no trace. Wirecard has just collapsed in a $2 billion fraud. But Marsalek wasn't just a fraudster, he was a Russian spy. Interpol issued a red notice, but by then he was already deep inside Russia. So how did a high school dropout become Europe's most wanted man and a ghost behind one of the biggest financial crimes of the 21st century? Marsalek wasn't born into power, no degree, no credentials, just a teenage coding nerd with sharp instincts. At 19, he launched a software startup. It fizzled, but it gave him experience. In 2000, he joined a sketchy company called Wirecard. They processed payments for high-risk online businesses. No bank wanted to work with them. No regulator fully trusted them. Marsalek didn't care. He wasn't after respect. He was after something bigger. In his new job, he quickly made himself indispensable, eventually becoming Marcus Braun's fixer, the CEO's invisible enforcer. When Braun needed a cleanup job, Marsalek handled it. No questions, no trace. By 2010, he was Chief Operating Officer. At just 30 years old, no one knew where he came from, but now he was running the engine room of a fintech rocket ship. Wirecard exploded, the stock soared. It joined the DAX 30, rubbing shoulders with BMW and Siemens. But the numbers? They were magic tricks. And behind the curtain stood Marsalek, smiling. Wirecard claimed it held nearly €2 billion in Philippine bank accounts. When auditors flew to Manila to see the funds, they were shown forged documents and ushered into back rooms nowhere near the financial district. Whistleblowers came forward. Journalists started to ask questions. Marsalek answered with his trademark cold efficiency. He threatened lawsuits. He hired hackers. He buried the truth under layers of paperwork and intimidation. And it worked. Regulators believed it, and the investors doubled down. The stock was continuing to soar, but as good as he was, things were starting to slip out of his control. In London, a team of journalists started to pull at the threads. They published evidence the money didn't exist, that the profits were fiction, that Wirecard was a house of cards propped up by intimidation and spin. Wirecard hit back hard. Lawsuits, threats. Private investigators followed reporters through the streets. Hackers tried to break into their emails, but the pressure was growing. Auditors at EY couldn't confirm the €2 billion in the Philippines. Investors started to panic. In June 2020, Wirecard admitted it had no idea where the money was. The next day, the CEO Marcus Braun is arrested. The stock crashed to zero, €30 billion in market value evaporated overnight. And Marsalek? He told everyone he was flying to Manila to clear it all up, but in reality, he had other plans. Marsalek didn't board a flight to Manila, that was his cover story. In reality, he slipped out of Western Europe under the radar. A private jet carried him to Minsk, Belarus, and from there the trail grows murky. Intelligence reports suggest he crossed the border into Russia, with help, not the kind of help you hire, the kind that protects assets, the kind that makes people vanish. Interpol issued a red notice, but by the time his name hit the wanted lists, he was already gone. And Moscow is where the trail ends. Since 2020, multiple reports place Marsalek under the protection of Russian intelligence, living in luxury apartments, surrounded by bodyguards, invisible to Western law enforcement. For years, he had been working with Russia's military intelligence, lending the power of Wirecard's global payment network to his Russian handlers. As a reward for his loyalty, when Wirecard fell, he was given Kremlin protection. In the end, the world lost €30 billion. Investors were ruined and regulators disgraced. And the man at the center of it all still lives like a king in Moscow, a living reminder that the biggest crimes don't always end up in handcuffs. And this is how Marsalek's story ends. A child prodigy who came from nothing, played the game at the highest stakes, and outsmarted them all. We really appreciate you spending some time with us here at Spark Void. More true crime stories are on the way. We'll see you in the next one.